Hi everyone, and welcome to The Well-Educated Artist. Today we have another fun craft using acrylic skins. Today we're going to be making acrylic skin bookmarks 3 different ways. So I'm going to be showing you 3 ways to make bookmarks out of your acrylic skins. What are acrylic skins? If you don't know what they are, they're the leftover pour paint that has dried, that you peel up out of a pour box or off a silicone mat that you've put down. And it's just the paint that's left over. And a lot of times you get some really cool designs in that paint. As you can see here, this is an acrylic skin. There's all kinds. This is another one from another project that I did. And one from this project. This is a harder acrylic skin, but I've used it to make bookmarks. And we're going to be using this one today as well. So, since you know what acrylic skins are, we can get started. You can also make your own acrylic skins. If you'd like to make your own, you can see my video on how to make acrylic skins. It's really super simple. As long as you have some acrylic paint, usually add some sort of pour medium to it. You could just use water, but I normally use Floetrol because that's what's in my paints. Other videos will show you how to use pour mediums that change the consistency of your acrylic skins. For example, you can see how this one is much thicker. This is a different kind of medium than Floetrol. This one is super thin. This one is used with Floetrol. You can see that it's very malleable, we'll call it, flimsy, while this one is very hard and holds its shape, which allows you to do different craft projects with different kinds of skins. So check out my other videos for the different kinds of craft projects that you can do with skins or how to make different kinds of skins. Okay, let's get started with bookmark number 1. The easiest way to make an acrylic skin bookmark is to get a kit to make a bookmark. And if you go to Amazon or a craft store, you can find these little kits. They came with the cabochons and they came with these little bookmarks. This is just the easiest way. It doesn't take a lot of paint either. So if you only have small skins, then something like this will work fine. To make this type of bookmark, you really only need a bookmark form with a tray. It's just like making a piece of jewelry. If you haven't seen my videos on how to make acrylic skin jewelry, then check those out. But it's the same basic principle as making a pendant or earrings that have trays or a bracelet that has a tray. So you're just going to take your bookmark form and you're going to take your cabochon. And if you have really wonderful small drippings like these, now this one is a little bit blinged out. If you haven't seen my video on how to make blinged out acrylic skins, then check that out as well. But sometimes you have these little skins that are really cool. You know, they may look like this, or they may look like this. This is the one I think I'm going to use. This is a blinged out skin. It's very metallic, and I just like it. So I'm going to use that one. And all you do is place your cabochon onto your skin, and you're going to use something like diamond glaze, water-based, dimensional adhesive, which I love to use if you've seen my other videos. And you'll just put some on the back of your cabochon. I probably should be wearing gloves so that I don't dirty up my cabochon. That's okay. And you're good to go. You can just put it down where you want to have your cabochon. I'm going to do that. I got a little too much glue on that one. That's okay. And we're just going to let that dry. Okay, I've got my gloves on now for the next part. Once your diamond glaze adhesive has dried, then we can take our scissors. Some people pre-cut these. I do not. I just go ahead and cut right around the cabochon. And I usually don't even wait till the glue is completely dry, just till it's tacked on there. Because skins tend to be pretty tacky anyway, but I go ahead and cut it so in case the glue has completely hardened, that way I can easily get around the edges of the cabochon. So there you go. Once you have your cabochon all decked out and ready to go with the backing on it, you can take a little bit of E6000, and I just put a little bit on the tray. You don't need a huge amount. That's going to squish. That's the technical term, squish. And you can just put your cabochon right into your tray. This one is really snug, so you really have to press it in there. But that's really all there is to it. It's definitely the easiest kind of bookmark to make, and let's work on bookmark number 2. What we're going to do is use a skin. This one's on butcher paper. Yes, you can put it on butcher paper that has a plastic side. It actually stores them very well. It's how I store mine. Okay, so here's an acrylic skin. It's not the most beautiful thing, but in certain places it's got some interest. So we're just going to cut this one up into a bookmark. And this is going to be true for 2 types of the bookmarks I'm showing you. You're going to need to just cut a rectangular, or really any shape that you want for a bookmark. I'm going to be using my straight edge here and an X-Acto knife. You can use scissors. You can use cardboard templates. You are definitely not restricted to this, but this gives me a straight edge. So all I'm going to do is pick where I like my bookmark, and I'm going to put my edge there. And I'm going to go ahead and cut it out. If you've seen me before, sometimes you know that I don't keep with the straight edge very well, so I'm going to go back over that. Trying to angle my X-Acto knife next to the ruler. I'm going to go with a rounded topped bookmark. You definitely don't. They can be just rectangular. And then I'm going to go down the other side. They can also be whatever length that you want. Okay. So that's the simple way just to make your bookmark. Now that you have your bookmark, you can just cut the end even. I'll try to cut a straight line. These mats are great. You can pick these up at craft stores or online. And you can just put your straight edge on it. We'll see if I can still get it as a straight edge. And go ahead and cut the bottom right off. There we go. Depends on the thickness of your skin, how easy it's going to be to cut on and off. Now this one is gray on the back. Sometimes your back of your skin will be the best part of it, but not always. You've got your skin cut out in the shape of a bookmark. Now for this particular type of bookmark, you will either need a laminating pouch, which you can get that does not require a laminating machine, or something like the Scotch laminating plastic. This is a small pouch that goes through a laminator, and I do have a laminator, and I'm going to use a laminator, but you can use a pouch just as easily. I just don't happen to have any right now. So you're just going to take your bookmark forms and put them into the pouch, whether it is the self-stick kind or the ones that actually use a hot laminator. And I'm going to put 2 in here so I don't waste. You could actually put 3. You have to be careful, they like to slip next to each other. But this is a glow-in-the-dark one. So you can have fun with kids' bookmarks and do a glow-in-the-dark bookmark. I'm going to put that one in too. See, there is room for more, but I'm leaving plenty of space. So I'm just going to move that over, and I'm going to grab my laminator. Hopefully it's hot enough. And we're just going to run it through the laminator. It's been on for a while. It still doesn't have the ready on it, but we're going to go ahead and run it through. Now we're just going to cut out our bookmarks. I'm going to cut toward the edge. It's going to make my bookmark a little bit wider. These didn't seal as well as I'd like them to. Now these are plastic. You have to remember, you basically are laminating plastic with plastic. This is just going to give it a little bit of shape. And you definitely don't want your skin sticking to your book if you're making bookmarks, so make sure that you do cover them with something. Okay. Once you have your bookmarks laminated, to finish those up, what you're going to do is take your hole punch. You can use a small hole punch or a large one. I'm just going to take a hole punch, punch it through. Same thing with my glow in the dark. Punch it through. And that way we can add our tassels. So I could use, let's see, I've got a different colors. Oh, I think the black might actually look better. So I'm going to put a black one on this one. And you can just buy these tassels online, or you can make your own tassels. You can check out videos on how to make tassels. I decided to buy them. I wasn't going to make my tassels this time, so there we go. And so now you have an acrylic skin bookmark. The final kind of bookmark that we're going to be making is a resined bookmark. So what I'm going to do is start by cutting my skin. Now, when you make a resin skin bookmark, you have to use some sort of form. And this is a bookmark form that you can pick up off the internet or from a craft store. And notice it already has a place for a hole, so you don't have to worry about punching a hole through the resin. So what you're going to do is you're going to cut a piece of skin that is smaller than, just slightly, than your form. And all the forms may be a different size. This one, the inner part, is just shy of an inch. So it's going to be an inch wide, and it is going to be just shy of 5.5 inches. So you're going to have to cut a piece that is that size that will fit your form. When you're done, you're going to have a piece that looks like this. Now, the one thing that I do with these, because you need to fit this back down into your form, you're going to need to put a hole in it. And you can do that with a number of things. I don't really suggest a hole punch for this because it's just too big. But you can actually take a pin and you can poke a hole and then wiggle this onto it and dry fit it in so that you have a bookmark piece that will fit. Once you've done that, it's going to have to mix up your resin. And I'm going to move this out of the way. I do not want this ruined. So then we're going to mix up our resin. For most resins, pretty much all that I've ever seen, you're going to be doing 1:1. So I don't need a lot of resin for this, but I do need to make sure it's even, and you can use a scale if you want to, but they say that's not accurate either when it comes to resin, and I don't need very much. So I'm actually going to eyeball it. For small projects, this usually works out okay. You can measure it if you have milliliter measuring cups. I'm going to take these and pour it into another cup since I don't have very much. We're just going to pour it in there together. Just going to get out all my resin. And that's plenty of resin. It depends how many bookmarks you're making. If you're making a bunch of bookmarks, you obviously need plenty. But for this demonstration purposes, I'm just going to use a little, and then you're going to slowly mix it. You want to keep out your bubbles if possible. Keep the bubbles to a minimum. And you're going to mix it according to the directions of how long they want you to mix it till it's very well mixed. What I normally do is I pour a little bit down in the bottom, and let me tell you, this takes absolutely no epoxy resin. So I just put a very small layer down, and then I'm going to put my bookmark on top of that. Now, the same thing as with your laminated bookmarks, you can add things to your bookmarks. You can also change the shape. Now that's done, you're going to go ahead and put your skin back down into the mold. Make sure that you wear gloves and you're in a well-ventilated area to do resin. Resin can be toxic and cause breathing problems, so You also don't want to get that on your hands, so do wear the gloves. Okay, so once you've got it down in there, now what I do is I go back and put some on top so that there's acrylic on the back and the front. Have to be careful not to overfill this. You won't believe how shallow these are. But what I do is make sure that I just have a nice coat, and I go around the edges and make sure that's sunk down. The good thing about having silicone mats down for resin is once it dries, it'll peel right off. So that's all you do. Now, if you're seeing that you have bubbles and problems with bubbles, you're just going to take a torch or a lighter or a heat gun and go over that to get out any bubbles that are forming. You also can take a toothpick and do it that way. Okay. So once that's done, this will need 24 hours to dry, at least, more like 48, because it will probably still be bendy at hour 24. So I would actually give it 2 to 3 days to dry completely before you take it out of the mold. Okay. So once you do that, take my gloves off for this. I've got a different type that's already hardened. This is a mini one, actually, and you can see that you can add things to it and bling it out. So this was just a trial piece. You can put inks if you want to, or dyes for resin. You can see this one had a bubble in it, so that's why it's important to torch. But this is a little mini one, because I had 2 different size forms, but you can see what you'll have a really cool bookmark when you're done. And then again, all you have to do is add your tassels that either you make if you're super crafty, or you can get them off Amazon and get a ton of those for nothing. And then you have your resin bookmark.